A murder case unsolved for 21 years and a daughter determined to discover the truth. Ice Cold Case is the podcast gaining attention around the world, focusing on the 2002 Belmont County shooting death of J.C. McGee. DK Wright joins us live in the 7 studio now with part 2 of a special report on this case that drives McGee's daughter Madison to keep investigating. DK.
Steve, Madison McGee has rented billboards in Bridgeport, St. Clairsville, and Wheeling. She has learned a lot in her Ice Cold Case podcast, from things about her father to things about the witnesses, and she continues to learn more. In the search for answers about her father's murder, Madison McGee discovered that her dad was a CI, a confidential informant for law enforcement.
I think that there's a big stigma in communities about being a snitch, and I guess that is potentially what got my dad killed.
She has learned that investigators with the Belmont County Sheriff's Department were blocked at every turn by ever-changing witness statements.
It's obvious lies were told. I'm struggling to articulate how heartbreaking it is to know that the answers lie in the brains of some people who just won't say.
When you have somebody that is repeatedly dishonest, you can't assign worth to any product that they give out, and when you're dealing in casework, that is a huge handicap for an investigator.
Madison says she knows black people have trust issues with police. She is not naive to reality. But through research and response to the podcast, she has learned a lot.
I feel as though I am very close to knowing inherently who killed my dad, who was there. I do not know if this will ever go to trial. And unfortunately, the witnesses involved are so unreliable that it's a defense attorney's dream.
We have learned investigators at the time collected a good quantity of evidence that still exists, and technology and testing have advanced incredibly in the last 21 years.
One of the reasons why we're doubling down on going back and dealing with things that are solid and can't be lied about, direct evidence.
Perhaps answers will stem from the podcast, where Madison asks simply, "Help me solve my dad's murder."
The Sheriff's Office is very grateful that Mrs. McGee reached out to us and included us in her endeavors for shining some light on this case. And I personally feel it's just a shot in the arm that this case needed to regain some momentum.
And to those who know more than they're saying,
just tell the truth. I say this in an episode, and I feel so strongly about this. After 21 years, I would not want to live with this guilt of knowing what happened and not saying anything. And I would feel better just getting it off my chest and finally coming clean with what really happened that day.
The Ice Cold Case podcast was slated for 8 episodes to last through the summer, but Madison says she's willing to keep it going for as long as it takes. DK Wright live in the 7 studio working for you.
Thank you, DK.